And so, yes, there would be pain and suffering, loss and death, unrealized hopes, abandoned dreams, and a grueling commitment to get through life to heaven. But I figured that was still the best journey in this sad world. And while those things are still a part of life, instead of expecting death, though, I find that what God invites us into instead is joy. During Jesus' last evening with his disciples before his death, he tells them that they are as he tells them that they are to love each other as he has loved them, as they have heard over and over again that to follow him means denying themselves and taking up their cross. Even as Jesus himself anticipates his own arrest and death, another surprising theme recurs. In John 15, Jesus tells his disciples, "As the Father has loved me, so have I loved you. Now remain in my love. If you keep my commands, you'll remain in my love, just as I have kept my Father's commands and remain in his love. But I have told you this, so that my joy may be in you, and that your joy may be complete." And later, as he ends the meal and prays before they head out to the garden, in which he often sought solitude with the Father, Jesus prays this, "Father, I am coming to you now, but I say these things while I am still in the world, so that they may have the full measure of my joy within them." And so isn't it curious that given the traumatic events to come, given the invitations to humility, trust, and dying to themselves, that Jesus keeps speaking of joy? That somehow this life of following him, of being with him and becoming like him, one of suffering and persecution to come, will also be marked by a joy that is both complete and full. It almost seems schizophrenic. And yet, the path of humility, of trust, of dying to ourselves is also the path of joy. Because on that journey, we realize more and more the God who is the source of all joy, who is the Father who delights in us and loves us and wants us to know and enjoy his love forever. And so one last passage that stuck with me through the years, it's the end of Psalm 16:11. It says, "You make known to me the path of life. In your presence there is fullness of joy, and at your right hand are pleasures forevermore." Now, in my own journey, this last invitation has been the most difficult for me to step into. I think I can embrace humility. I can grudgingly accept quietness and trust. I'm even resigned to the idea of dying to myself. But to experience joy. Several years ago, I even took the opportunity to speak on joy during Christmas, and instead I talked about depression for an hour. And that's kind of still where I've been. And since then, I've been pressing into this idea of humility, but I think that God might now be returning me to this invitation of his joy. Even last month, as I was talking with one of the teens who's going to be interning with me this summer, she wondered if joy might be the thing that we need to wrestle with in June, July, and August. And so maybe after this summer, I'll have something more to share on joy. So those are 4 expectations that I've wrestled with in my own journey toward and with God. And I encourage you to begin identifying your own expectations if you haven't begun, and search for what God might be inviting you to instead. What I didn't mention today were all the current not dead Christians who have been helping me see what life with God is really like. And so I encourage you, don't take the journey alone. I invite them to help you discover God's invitation for you and for all of us. Right? Because if we continue to hold on to our assumptions, I think we're in danger of missing the unexpected life, yes, the harder life, but the better life that Jesus does offer us.